Hey, we called it with our mid-season Festivus episode. It's going to be very exciting. Much like they do in Seinfeld, we will be airing our grievances with all the people who have disappointed us this year. And then we will be going through our picks and analysis like normal. With me is going to be Dr. Kenneth Call. How you doing, Ken?
Hey, man, I'm ready to air these grievances. Let's do it.
And Anthony Sardelli. How you
Hey,
doing?
introduce me as doctor to. I actually just got my PhD in hot takes. So
PhD
here I
in
am.
hot. I went on Google real quick, threw some garbage on a message board. PhD came right in the mail. All right, so with that, we are going to get started right away with our airing of grievance. So I will air my first grievance first. Since Connor is not here, it is a universal grievance that we all have, and that is with Arthur Smith. Everyone knows he has 3 top 10 talent skilled positions, and he always insists on giving the ball to people that were drafted in the 5th round or later, or undrafted even. He is not a good coach at all by any stretch of the imagination.
Let me
I
step
can't yell
in,
at
man.
Arthur Smith
Arthur,
enough.
what are you doing? You're literally. I bet on you 1 week. I bet on you hard. Every now and then I think, oh, Bijan, anytime touchdown. Of course, the week I don't do it, it hits. But and then you go and blow the game. I mean, this guy, he just doesn't know what he's doing out there. It's apparent. He's like me on my bets. He just doesn't know what he's doing out there. He's got the right tools right in front of him. He just can't get it done. I hate Arthur Smith, and so does 90% of everybody. Like, even I've got a big Falcons fan, diehard fan buddy. He's like week 4, he's like, no, he's just winning games. And now he's like, yeah, you're right. Arthur Smith, he's a little dumb.
So, coming from a proud owner of Bijan Robinson and Drake London on the same team somehow, Arthur Smith, I hate you. My fantasy team would be so much better. I'm in 2nd place. I would be in 1st place if you did half the job you should be doing.
He goes and actively chooses to put his players in the wrong position just to prove that he's smarter than everyone else, and I hate it. Tyler Algier should not be getting carries and at the goal line when Bijan Robinson's out there making 10 people miss every carry. And then every game, he always insists on one of his 3 people having a good game, whether it's Kyle Pitts, Drake London, or Bijan Robinson. The Jonnu Smith, 60-yard touchdown, I think, was the pinnacle of him trying to outsmart the world. He's playing the Vikings. It should be an easy W because his roster is awesome. And he throws a screen to Jonnu Smith, the exact same role Kyle Pitts plays, but chooses to use the backup tight end to prove how smart he is and to say, hey, I got this. We're going to win off of me using a backup tight end in your face, fantasy community. And then, of course, they go and they blow the game to, Josh Dobbs.
So, I think that when you grow up and your daddy's a billionaire, you just don't cherish what you have. You just completely waste all the good toys because you're like, I have a million of them. But guess what? In the NFL, you don't. You have 3. Use them.
He even wastes his draft capital. Why would you use the 1st round picks on these guys if you think the 5th rounders are fine? All right, that's enough. Anthony, now that we got that out of the way, who's your first grievance with?
It's Josh Allen. I mean, when you draft him really high in a league and expect him to be your number 1 quarterback, and if you're just like a Bills fan, I'm not a Bills fan, but I kind of root for him sometimes because I'm like, I like to see him win. I got a buddy that's a big Bills fan. He's back to old Josh Allen throwing picks out there. And then they go and fire the OC when it's probably not his fault. It's this guy's decision making. I mean, what is he doing out there throwing picks, looking like rookie Josh Allen, looking like straight out of college Josh Allen. And then let me just go more fantasy. Let me get it out of the way real quick. Cooper Kupp. I know Matt Stafford when he's out. Matt Stafford loves throwing to Cooper Kupp, but Cooper Kupp, man, you're supposed to be the best wide receiver in fantasy, and you suck. Please come off this bye week. I know you were hurt this year. Just come off and help me. Come on.
Do you even have hope for a fantasy year with your 1st round pick, having 2 reasonable weeks?
In that league, no comment. Oh.
All right, my second grievance, Brandon Staley. We've all harped on him before, and man, can you keep wasting more and more talent than Brandon Staley does? It's like if Arthur Smith had a good quarterback. That's how angry you should be with Brandon Staley. He's had just depths of talent everywhere, where they have two good pass rushers, they have the best safety in the game, and they have good corners. They took J.C. Jackson, who was like an elite ball hawk, and completely wasted him when the Brandon Staley's expertise is on the defensive side of the ball. Every week, the Chargers lose. It is like 99% because the defense can't stop anyone. They just gave up 41 to the Lions, and all the Lions did the first half is hand the ball off. The second half, they got a little bit crazier, and they ran play action, and the Chargers were just mind-boggled and couldn't keep up with anything they were doing. The defense is just so poorly coached, it's embarrassing. And then, when he's managing a game that he's winning, they always get a 2-touchdown lead, and then they just stop moving the ball, doing anything. It's just over. So, every game that he should win, he barely does, despite getting out to like big leads and controlling the game. And then every game against a real opponent, he loses.
It is crazy how bad like that defense is. And I know you played Detroit and you got into a bit of a shootout, but you couldn't get one stop with this defense. And it's not just this game, but he's supposed to be a defensive mind. And
he got hired for leading the Super Bowl Rams defense.
It's crazy. I mean, guys get jobs for unknown reasons, and not just the NFL, but in a lot of places. But
yeah, Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack don't get pressure anymore.
It's crazy.
How do they not get pressure? They're two of the best at what they do.
They're trying to get their coach fired, dude. Maybe it's not his fault. It's their fault. They're bad pass rushers. Brandon Staley needs to use the Arthur Smith tactics and stop playing those guys. Yank them out of there. Get some fresh blood in there.
They should be guys. First and second down, run stoppers only. All right. That's enough out of that. Ken, we should be on your second grievance.
Yeah. So we're going to go with Mac Jones on this one, and 100% based on, I really like Ramondre Stevenson this year, and he's completely ruined that whole team and the whole offense. I can't stand seeing him scream at his teammates on the sidelines. He doesn't look like a leader. Tom Brady did it totally fine. Peyton Manning did it totally fine. Mac Jones looks like a little baby throwing a tantrum, and not one person's even looking at him. Bailey Zappi is a lot better than you. And yes, Bailey Zappi had one drive and threw a pick on it last game. Still a lot better than you. That interception that he threw that maybe should have been in the end zone, I don't know. He soft tossed it 15 yards short. The only person close to him was, there are two defenders that could have caught it. A fifth grader playing linebacker in Pee Wee football could have caught that INT. I have no clue what the hell he was doing.
I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that's the worst throw I've ever seen in the NFL. No, second worst.
So
the Brandon Weeden shuffle pass. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
That was epic. That was epic.
Well, so I sent that to the group chat and I said, this one's worse because it was in the fourth quarter, less than 4 minutes. And if you hit a good throw, you win the game. The Brandon Weeden didn't have a chance to win that one. But
that's hilarious. We let the Browns off for once because they didn't have a chance to win a game.
Yep. But I sent that to the chat and I was like, guys, I can't even believe this was a real throw.
Remember last week when I said I don't want that game on my TV? I didn't, and I put it on as I was doing other things, and I saw that. I should have just, protected my eyes and not turned that game on at all.
I'm so glad I was hungover during that whole game because I woke up and I'm like, what happened in that game, guys? My buddies are like, you didn't miss a thing, man. I'm like, oh my God, 1 touchdown? I'm like, what? But last thing on Mac Jones, my buddy always said, he's like, Mac Jones looks like he's always about to cry.
Yes.
Like that's the perfect explanation of his facial expression.
Anthony, do you have anyone else you want to yell at?
Just one more thing, a little off topic. Damn San Jose Sharks, dude. You stop, just roll over and die like the New York Giants. I need you to lose games. I'm betting against you every time. I hope you see this somewhere. I think you're gonna lose every game. You won some, but from here on out, I think you're losing every game. Stop winning. Stop coming close to winning.
Too hot in San Jose to play hockey. That's the issue.
The ice is melting. The caps are melting. Come on, San Jose. There's no Sharks in San Jose.
If Jamaica can have a bobsled team, then the San Jose Sharks got to figure this out, all right? I only have one more grievance, and that's with Anthony Sardelli. This guy, we brought him on to handle our audio and video support in the background, and I know it's mostly because I haven't given him any work to do and haven't had time to give him slides and stuff to get on the screen. But I'm blaming you on this one. I need you to be better. I need you to pick up the slack. You're not doing the job we hired you for. Just no answer, huh?
Wait, was I supposed to play it? I thought you were playing it.
Playing what?
The line, did you hear it? Oh, it's just
No.
on preview. Oh, damn it.
No, I was just yelling at you. That's all I was doing.
Oh.
You weren't listening at all, were you?
I was listening.
So I yell at you, and your response is, "Did I do my job?" See, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, well, I mean, I toned you out for the whole thing.
See, this is why I gotta replace you. All right. With all that out of the way, we're 20 minutes in now. I bet you we still finish before a normal episode that Connor's here for. All right. We got our picks. We all have the Chargers. So why don't we start there? After I yell at Brandon Staley, who tell us why he's going to win and cover in Green Bay this week.
Because the Packers are just bad. And so the main thing is, yes, this defense has sucked, but they do tend to beat up on really bad offenses. And Jordan Love, over the last month or so, has really shown that he is not ready to be a quarterback, at least not this week. And yes, there should be, in theory, a good pass rush for the Chargers. Yes, they should, in theory, have good pass coverage. Don't know if it's going to be there or not, but I will tell you that the Chargers will go up by double digits this week. And then I do not think that this Packers offense is going to be able to keep up in any way. I think that you're going to get a lot of just nasty, beat up, Jordan Love looking bad. Bad game to watch. Not going to be fun. Not going to watch it. But I know that the Chargers are going to win. And the question is it going to be by 3 or more than 3? Either way, worst case scenario, it's going to be a push.
Anthony, anything to add?
They're I mean, it's Green Bay. You can't lose to Green Bay. Come on. You got to cover 3. I mean, Green Bay looked pretty bad against Pittsburgh. They were scoring a lot, which kind of surprised me, but I think the Chargers, with the way they played last week, they need a win, stay in that playoff hunt. This is a must-win game for the Chargers, and I could see them winning by a touchdown because Eckler's playing great football right now. Like I'm a big hammer anytime touchdowns on Eckler every week from here on out. Like I've been doing it since like 3 weeks ago or when he came back, and he's been hitting. So I expect Eckler to have a huge game, and I expect Herbert to play way better than he's been playing even the last last game. I think he's going to be doing that for the rest of the season. His defense just needs to turn it around. Yeah,
and like Ken said, the defense is super talented, and no matter how much Brandon Staley sucks at calling a defense, if the offense sucks, it doesn't matter because the talent is just out too much to handle. The Herbert offense will be absolutely fine. Not worried about them being able to move the ball and produce, which is just blowing my mind because Green Bay is another team with a really good defense, but it just completely underwhelms. It has like the last 2 or 3 years, and I have no idea what's going wrong. But like last week against the Steelers, for whatever reason, they couldn't stop Najee Harris and running the ball. So you think they're going to be able to stop the Chargers, who have a better running attack than the Steelers? It's just the Packers make me mad, but they're not good enough for me to care. So that's why they weren't on the area of grievances list. Let's go on Game 2. Anthony, why don't you tell us why you are going with the red hot CJ Stroud?
Oh, because I love CJ Stroud. He's the first good Ohio State quarterback to come out and absolutely own in the NFL as a rookie. On pace for an MVP season. This guy is lighting it up, beating teams like the Cincinnati Bengals, who were just on a huge win streak, coming off a pretty dang good win streak and taking them down. This offense looks great. I hope Nico Collins plays this week. But this offense is playing lights out. The defense, they're young. They're learning how to play. They're scrappy. And I could just see them beating Arizona, even with Kyler Murray back. I think Arizona got a fluke win last week. I mean, against a team that, when Kyler Murray's in, can win. If this turns into a shootout, I could see Houston winning by 4 points.
And on to the next pick is going to be my favorite pick of the week, and that's Cincinnati on Thursday Night Football. I think Cincinnati absolutely choked against Houston, but the only problem they really had was stopping this apparently elite pass attack from CJ Stroud, Noah Brown, and Tank Dell, which is just it's like crazy coming in the air. If you said those names together, it would be complete gibberish. However, the Ravens, while they have good pass, like Lamar hasn't been a bad passer, their receivers aren't bad. It doesn't seem ever that they can put together a complete game. It's always a good half of football, and then things fall apart. Like if you look at their losses against the Steelers, they had a fourth quarter lead that they blew. Against the Browns, they were dominating the game, and then they blew it. Against the Colts, same thing. This is a division game, and it's absolutely like life or death for the Bengals. They need to start getting some wins. One in the AFC, two against teams that they're going to have potential tiebreakers with, and they have a hard schedule ahead. Like they're too good and too talented to keep dropping games like this. And the Ravens, like we've seen year after year, they tail off at the end of the year, and it's mostly due to injuries. And I know Lamar's healthy, but they just lost their best corner, and then they lost their left tackle too. So T. Higgins is out, but we saw Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase put up huge games, even though Boyd dropped the touchdown. I still believe in Joe Burrow enough to come out, pull off the road upset, and you get 3.5, so you get that extra little bit of wiggle room. Ken, you also have this pick. Anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing, it's, the AFC North games are going to be tight, and 3.5's a lot. You're giving Joe Burrow. Now, the one thing that we can say over the last 3 weeks or so is Joe Burrow looks good. He's moving around. That calf strain, it can take on the long end, like 2.5 months to heal up. And it, after his re-aggravation, that it did. It took all that time. But he's moving around good. You're missing T. Higgins, but they were, there's still plenty of weapons on that offense. I'm not quite worried about that. A big key is going to be Joe Mixon is able to run the ball against them. Their run defense has not been fantastic for Baltimore. So I think that between that, Chase getting a little healthier, Joe Burrow looking good, I just think it's going to be a close division game, and 3.5. If I didn't get that extra half, I'd kind of debate it, but I think I saw it at 4 a little earlier too. So I don't know. I think it's a safe number to play.
And let's go over to the next pick we all have, Jacksonville. So coming off probably one of the most embarrassing losses of the year, where we were supposed to have a super hype game. They got humiliated by San Fran. We all expect to bounce back against Tennessee. Anthony, why don't you start? Why are you believing in Jacksonville?
Yeah, I think Jacksonville got super caught off guard that Chase Young was on the other side of the football last week too.
They didn't get the team rosters ahead of time. They only had a bye week.
I don't think they were expecting this defense to click that fast, and I don't think they were expecting a 3-loss coming off the bye week San Fran offense to just light them up. Brock Purdy back on his win streak, back on his high horse, looking good. Jacksonville, I mean, this offense is so spurty, so hit or miss. I think this is a huge game for them to stay on top of that division. they got to win these kinds of games against Tennessee, who's horrible. They're a bad football team. Derrick Henry is the only thing they have right now. They and Jacksonville, they need a win. They can cover 6.5 easy. I see them very upset after last week, putting up big numbers this week.
So I feel like Treylon Burks is that next receiver that's like really good, shows flashes, but is always injured. I feel like every single time I watch a Titans game, you see him on the ground for something. He always looks like he's in real pain. I don't know. Weird. Will Levis, if you took out his big plays in the first game, he had a very mediocre day, below average. And then since then, like Pittsburgh, Tampa, yeah, those are some decent defenses to go against. But guess what? So is Jacksonville. And I think that they'll be ready for him, especially after what San Fran did to him. I think Doug Peterson's a good coach. He's going to get him up for the big game. This is a very classic. I know it's 6.5 isn't the best like teaser number, but like teasing this down to like just like a half point just for Jacksonville to like get a win. Like I mean that's a pretty safe bet for me right here.
Yeah, I think this is a game where one team is just better than the other. Like the Jags have so much talent, and even though it didn't show up last week, the Titans can't make them pay for much. This is just the kind of game that those teams win. They bounce back after rough losses, and then they beat weak division opponents. And Tennessee is reeling. I think right now they're doing their best to figure out what works for next year. So you're not even going to get the best version of Tennessee to go against. Jacksonville's at home, and they definitely they need to pick me up after that complete letdown last week. So let's head over then. You guys got some picks in the Miami game. Ken, why don't you tell us why you have Miami as a major favorite? 11.5.
After the new coach comes in, like you have that like pump up time, and then they had a very average game against the Jets. I just don't think that this Raider team's that good. And Miami has shown time after time this year that if they are up against a bad team, they're going to run up points. They're going to get big plays. If Miami's big plays are hitting, good luck. Aiden O'Connell, every single week that he's still starting is another week that teams can get tape on him. He's not the future. I don't think anybody in Las Vegas thinks that. I don't think anyone in the NFL thinks that. Miami coming off a huge game against a huge opponent and just coming out completely flat in the first half. I don't think that happens again.
Yeah, I could see this being like the Denver game where they just put up 50 points. I could see them hitting the over by themselves, but I still expect Las Vegas to get a couple garbage touchdowns or something like that. I think it's going to hit the over 46.5. Yeah, that seems low to me.
I want to bet against the magic of Las Vegas running out. And if this would like, if it was against a different team and the spread was under 6, I would absolutely have. However, seeing like a 12-point spread and a team filled with magic, I can't do it. But the team I will bet on is Minnesota. No eyebrows, no problem. Here we go. Josh Dobbs is leading this team. I was looking at the standings in the NFC, and it just completely blew my mind. The Vikings are like 2 games into the playoffs after that horrendous, I think like 1-4 start to the year. And now they're pretty much securely in because Tampa Bay, Washington, and Atlanta are the teams chasing them. So Josh Dobbs,
that's pretty bad.
like, yeah, the NFC playoffs are a complete joke. There's so many bad teams. But I have just been so impressed with Dobbs and what he can do. How well he runs the ball without getting hurt is absolutely insane to me because he runs very physically and he doesn't avoid contact, but it doesn't seem to matter. He always bounces up, and he's doing what every backup quarterback I dream would do. He finds the best player on his team, and he doesn't stop giving him the ball. TJ Hawkinson had like 10 catches for 180 yards in the first half last week. That's how you win a game. And so Denver, they have been the Cinderella story the last 3 weeks, pulling off upset win after upset win. And I still have just been unimpressed by what they do. Sean Payton is still playing scared on offense. And I think when push comes to shove, like the fact that Kevin O'Connell believes in his 2-week rental at quarterback more than Sean Payton does his $250 million quarterback is just going to show out in this game. And Minnesota's weapons will make the difference. Minnesota's defense can be had. However, you have to threaten their defensive backs, and Denver won't do that.
So I am so impressed with what Brian Flores has done with Minnesota. They're like, hey, listen, we don't have a good team. I'm going to blitz you literally nonstop. And it's working. Credit to Brian Flores over there. But if this game gets up to 3, I'm definitely all in on it.
Anthony, you have Dallas versus Carolina. You think there's another beatdown coming with Dallas minus 10.5 in Carolina?
Yeah, I like the Cowboys to cover 10.5 here against Carolina, who's just like another really bad football team, even at home. I think Dallas running off a big offensive game last week. They kind of didn't even use Tony Pollard a lot. Like I could just see Tony Pollard getting in the game more, and CeeDee Lamb's playing great. Dak loves playing his best games against bad defenses and bad teams. And that Dallas defense is still playing potent. 10.5 it's scary, but with the way Dallas played last week, going with a little recency bias in this one, I think they're going to cover 10.5.
Ken, you have Detroit. I think it's a minus 9.5 spread against Chicago in Detroit. Why are you taking that?
Because I don't think Justin Fields is going to play. I think that this line's going to move 2-3 points as soon as he gets ruled out. Dislocated thumb, he still needs to hold on to a ball. He still needs to have a good grip. Doesn't matter if anything else is going on. You're not going to start a running quarterback if you're thinking he's going to fumble. There's no reason to bring him back against Detroit. They're not making the playoffs. All he's going to do is not look good against a good team. No reason to bring Justin Fields back this week.
All right, then my last pick of the week is Pitt versus Cleveland. I'm taking Cleveland once again to beat the spread, even though they're 4-point favorites at home. And this one's easy. First time we watched this game, Pittsburgh was nowhere near as good as Cleveland. The only reason they won is because of a pick six on the first play, and then TJ Watt doing TJ Watt things and forcing a fumble, forcing a strip sack into a fumble recovery touchdown in the second half. And on top of that, the Browns lost Nick Chubb mid-game. Now they've had time to adapt their offense to account for not having Chubb. I don't think the Steelers defense is going to get 2 touchdowns or have 2 plays as big as those 2. I might be wrong there. Like that's my biggest worry with this pick is that Deshaun Watson is going to throw the Steelers another win. Other than that, I think Cleveland absolutely comes out and controls the game. The Steelers couldn't move the ball at all, and I think the Browns defense will have the exact similar success to Cleveland. Last time, I think they kept them outside of the Browns' 30-yard line, except for one broken George Pickens touchdown. So I like the Browns defense to absolutely smother what is a bad offense. The Steelers' offense is 30th in yards per drive, 28th in points per drive. And then their defense is 28th in yards per drive, but 10th in points per drive. This team is fully built on their defense holding teams to field goals in the red zone and forcing turnovers. I don't care if the Browns kick field goals in the red zone because the Steelers offense will not be able to score enough to keep up with those field goals. Browns -4 all the way. Steelers are way overrated, and it's driving me crazy.
Man, if it wasn't the Browns, I'd be in with you. But every time I bet them, I can have horrible luck, so I'm out.
Yeah,
and every time you don't bet them, I feel way more confident. Anthony, anything to add?
Monday Night Football, Philly versus KC. Me and Ken love that under. I think it's now 9-1. The under has won 9 times on Monday Night Football.
Well, Chiefs have also been hitting unders, and also their offense
stinks.
it's slowed down a ton. They're missing big plays. They're definitely a lot more like sustained drives. Eagles, same thing. And just with that, I'll be honest, I really wanted to take the Eagles, but I can't go against Andy Reid after a nice time off and after him chowing down in Germany. So he had a nice break. He's going to come out ready. That offense, I think, will look good. But I think that both these teams just prefer to ball control and play slow. You're not getting the, what was it, like 60 points that were in the Super Bowl.
I typed in Eagles +3, and then I deleted it knowing Andy Reid was off a bye.
And you know what? You're gonna sweat the under, but it's gonna hit. I can guarantee it. You're gonna sweat it though. It's gonna be very, very close.
Yeah, this past Monday night, I hit the under on a missed extra point. It's pretty cool. It's fun stuff.
But with that, we've aired our grievances. We've given you picks for this week. But I realized I have one more grievance. ESPN Bet just came out, and their promo they're offering is $1,000 in eligible bet cash. I looked up the details on it. If you get the full $1,000 in eligible bet cash, you have to play through $20,000 on the ESPN site. That is completely ridiculous, and I just can't. Why would you make it a promo? It feels like a scam to me. It's like someone called and said, "Hey, I'm the Prince of Nigeria. Trust me, you got to send me 20, 30 bucks." Sportsbooks always try to pull shady things like that, but typically it's the offshore ones that have the ridiculous playthrough rules. And I hate that ESPN is bringing it to, the U.S. shores. Disney, be a better company, okay? Get some Mickey Mouse props in there or something.
We want your money. Come to Disney.
I didn't know that the Mickey Mouse is in your repertoire, Anthony. Wow.
I'm a man of many skills and talents.
I told him to run a soundboard. Instead, he just learned them all.
I'm a doctor of impressions and soundboards. I'm the guy. What was the? I'm the guy in Police Academy. I forget his name, but I can do a ton of sound effects.
It's the same guy in Spaceballs, isn't it?
Yeah,
who does all the.
I wanted to say Spaceballs, but I was like, I don't want to be wrong, so I'm gonna stay away from that.
So also, the only one I'll do is Mickey Mouse.
With that, Mickey says goodbye. Thank you guys for listening. Let us know who's ruined your NFL season. Let us know the picks that you have. And, like, comment, subscribe on all of our takes and everything and blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. JJ Watt giveaway.
It's still a thing.
Do it.
It's still a thing.
Subscribing.